Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a special edition of Weekly Oscar Talk. Recording a little bit ahead of advance, so if there's any breaking news within the next few days, we'll cover it on the following week of Weekly Oscar Talk. But there's been some crazy news already that we'll touch on soon enough. But since there's only really one news item, which we will touch on today, me and Antony, I'm joined by Antony as always.
Hi, everyone.
We are here to be doing our updated Oscar predictions after TIFF, Venice, Telluride, all those festivals happened. Really just New York Film Festival left, which there's really only screenings for She Said and Till, as well as the blockbusters upcoming like Black Panther and Avatar. And then those are the only mysteries right now, review-wise. So Babylon as well. Yes, of course. How could I forget? But yeah, that's really all that's left. So getting right into it, let's start off with Best Picture. Would you like to go first, Antony, or would you like me to?
Why don't you, our
Okay.
wonderful Oscar film forecast host?
Okay. My number one, I'm still struggling with my number one. I'm gonna say Women Talking for now. I'm gonna say
Okay.
Women Talking. My number two is obviously The Fablemans. I'm saying, like, I think I could see just as an easy of a path for each Women Talking. I think I could see a package, a winning package that we've seen often in the last few years of screenplay, supporting, and picture. I feel like that's a pretty easy win mix. But The Fablemans, I could also see having like a Parasite route of like screenplay, director, picture. Um, I'm gonna stick with Women Talking because Fablemans has been given the frontrunner card, the status that often does not turn out well for said movies. Um, and I think Women Talking will, well, it's already kind of one of the top frontrunners. I think it will rise up at the end. And I think it's also kind of a movie that people will feel like not like a need to vote for, but it has a message. It has like a purpose in like today's society as compared to The Fablemans, where it's just like a guy, talking like love in cinema, talking about his childhood and how he loves cinema. So I'm leaning that way. I could see it very much kind of like a Moonlight, a little more meaningful than La La Land, the more cinema movie. And it's similar winning package of supporting category, screenplay, and picture. So that is where I'm going win wise now. Those are the easy top two, and then everything else, everything everywhere all at once is my number three. Babylon number four. I think that's easily going to be our nomination frontrunner. Number five, Banshees of Inisherin did very well at all the festivals. I think it's a critical darling, and I think it'll get a good amount of acting noms. That's an easy number five. Fox Searchlight's biggest contender. Top Gun Maverick is my number six. I think it's just kind of hard to deny at this point. I was denying it at first, but I mean, it's a box office hit. It's going to get a lot of tech noms. I think it'll, as we'll touch on later, I think it'll win a good amount. Speaking of a lot of tech noms, number seven, Elvis, going to get a lot of tech noms. Going to be Warner Brothers' only thing that they can push this entire season, really, at all. So that helps it out. Number eight, I have Tar. I don't think it's going to be as divisive as I originally thought. I think it's not going to be quite like Spencer. I think it'll be more well liked than Spencer. And I think if the critics can often carry at least one movie into picture. Last year we saw that, especially in the year of 10 with Drive My Car. I think they really carried that movie into picture. And I think if they do that
And
with a
I think
movie,
they carried Power of the Dog into the leader of the field with 12
yes,
nominations. So
yes,
I would
they
definitely,
do have an influence.
I think Tar is your Power of the Dog this year, or maybe
Yeah.
that's Women Talk. But I think that fills that spot.
Yeah, yeah. So I do think the critics will help with that, especially with the critic seasonal awards. Then number nine, Netflix has to get something in here. They got two movies in the past 3 years, and two of those years there weren't even lineups of 10. So I'm going with I think what their best bet is, which is All Quiet on the Western Front. I think it'll get a good amount of tech noms. I think it's our front runner personally in international, and I think our Academy body in general is getting more international. So I do think an international movie getting into picture is getting more likely. And I think Netflix will realize that this is their best shot, and I think they'll push for it. Um, There's the praise for this movie is just intense. Lots of people saying it's like the best war movie since Saving Private Ryan. So I have faith in it. It's my number nine. My number 10, I'm between two different movies. I'm between Black Panther and She Said. It's whether or not I want to have the blockbuster. I think there's another spot for a blockbuster, which there's already a good amount of blockbuster movies in my lineup. Or if they would go with something a little more Oscar baity, like She Said. Um, I just overall, I think Black Panther has more guaranteed nominations overall than She Said. She Said would really just be a picture supporting screenplay play. Um, which it could end up being that. But they're both wild cards. They're both mysteries. We don't know how either of them will be quality wise. She Said we'll know very soon. But I'm gonna lean Black Panther right now. I'm gonna keep it in there, as Antony I'm sure would like. And She Said is my very close number 11 because I think that is very possible with all these movies dropping off, and I do think it is a very Hollywood thing for them to want to like they I feel like they'll like feel good about themselves, like patting themselves on the back by giving that movie some awards attention. And then other honorable mentions, Empire of Light could still kind of be our Nightmare Alley and sneak in there with some tech noms. Glass Onion, maybe. I mean, if that's truly Netflix's big push, it's possible. The Whale, if Brendan Fraser is really that strong, he could carry it into picture, I guess. And The Woman King. I think that would probably be Sony's biggest push now. But yeah, that's my 10. How about you, Anthony? Is my 10 your number one still?
Yeah, it is.
It
Yes.
is.
I
Okay.
still
We're
have Black
back
Panther
ending each
Wakanda
other.
Forever at number one because, as I've been saying this entire season, I'm looking for the movie that will make people feel. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that movie has the potential. I mean, as we've seen already with the trailer, that movie is going to leave an emotional mark that I think will be like once in a lifetime worthy. I think many people are going to go into that movie not only due to the already Oscar proven success of the first film, but
Mm-hmm.
I think to see those group of artists come together in a moment of hurt and to make this movie that I think, you know, let's just say like the first Black Panther got an A+ cinema score, wildly successful box office. I see that repeating for the second one. I think we're going to see a very similar performance to Top Gun Maverick. It's going to be a big juggernaut one. It might end up being the highest grossing movie of the year if it can match the
It's
first one.
possible. Or
Um,
Avatar.
or Avatar. That's true. And Avatar has the success of the December plays into Christmas release. But I also
Yeah.
think Black Panther will probably um, do well there because it's a more recent franchise, and so I just know because my family has been deciding what our Christmas week movie is going to be, and we're leaning Black Panther because they're not the biggest fans of Avatar.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it could do very well box office wise, very well with an A+ cinema score. I'm predicting, and I just think that this movie is what I'm anticipating. Is I think there are many people who will vote their favorite. Everybody was going to vote their favorite, whether it's Babylon or Fablemans or Women Talking. You know, all the
Mm-hmm.
different sects of the voting academy. But I see a potential where so many people admire what that crew had to do to make that movie, the journey that they had to take. Just imagine all of them. I mean, we saw it already at Comic-Con, just them like welling up and getting emotional answering interview questions. They go everywhere. They go to SAG again, which I think is a
Yes, totally.
possibility. I just think that this movie, it's of course a bold choice to put a Marvel movie at one, and you know it's not like I, as much as I enjoy the MCU, I've never done this before, but I just think this is a rare movie, and I'm looking at all the other contenders, and there's just something that's getting in the way, and I feel like with Black Panther, what's getting in the way is what makes this movie so special. So for now, sight unseen, I'm still have it at my number one. Number two is Women Talking. I think this is definitely going to appeal to the sector of the academy that really appreciates the craft of the film. And I think it has it's rave reviews coming out of these festivals, really strong female presence that I think will resonate with the emerging and like improved and bigger voting body that's becoming more inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
The Fablemans is my three. I mean, Steven Spielberg making a movie about the love of movies. I mean, again, it's just like really, that
It's
seems like
perfect.
built for it, that in the post. It's interesting. They just seem like they necessitate an Oscar nomination.
I
Four, I'm
agree.
going Babylon. I think this is probably going to be, aside from your blockbusters, the big tech contender. The tech
Yeah.
contender that I think you'll see represented in more of the above the line contenders. I don't think you'll see Black Panther or Top Gun Maverick, which is my number five, in a lot of these above the line categories that we're talking about
Yeah.
today. But I do think you'll see Babylon in a couple of these spots. Six, I have Tar. Really strong word of mouth for a very unconventional film. And we'll talk about its possibilities and why I think it's so strong in another category later.
Hmm.
Seven, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I still, as I've talked about before, I worry that voters are not going to get to the end of the movie, and that ending is what will get it this nomination. So I could see a
Yeah.
world where it doesn't get nominated. It pains me to say, because I think that if you're not on the same wavelength and you're not getting the multiverse stuff, and it is very absurd in a glorious way, but if you're not on that wavelength, it could really be like, what the hell am I watching? And so I hope, and I hope people enjoy it and they see it for what it is, and that it's, this brilliant film. But I worry, but I still think it's most likely going to get in there, because I think enough people, it played well at the box office, becoming A24's highest grossing film thus far.
Hmm.
So I have hope that this will get in there at seven. Eight, I have the Banshees of Inisherin. Really strong debut. A lot of people talking about it. Colin Farrell beating out Brendan Fraser for Best Actor at the Venice Film Festival. That bodes well for just that this is an overall package. Mark McDonagh stripped down, it seems, a little less inflammatory as his previous film, Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, was. So, yes, I think this will play, again, more in the women talking tar field. Then I agree. You have swayed me. All Quiet on the Western Front. I do think Netflix will have
Yeah.
it showing, and I think that they tend to go for this type of movie. Dunkirk, 1917.
They're
I could
like
even
their war movies.
They like their war movies. Hacksaw Ridge. They
Hmm.
war movies usually have a presence. The technical craft is usually undeniable by those who look for technical craft as the reason for a Best Picture contender. And I also think this will evade the remake contingency of like, why are we remaking it? Because it's the remake is from almost 100 years ago.
Yeah.
uh and then I still, at 10, I have Empire of Light. I was toying between
Mm.
that and The Whale, but I think Empire of Light is the safer choice. Sam Mendes, I think this is a film that could appeal more to the overall Academy. I think it reminds me a little bit of like a safe, like, speaking of The Post, Darkest Hour, these movies that get in there, Ford v Ferrari, in a sense, where it's like it's going to be everybody's somewhat cup of tea. The phrase that I've heard, competency porn, where it's like you're just watching a bunch of people, Roger Deakins, Sam Mendes, Olivia Colman, Michael Ward, come together, do what you know they're going to do best. It's not going to shock anybody, but it's going to deliver. So I liken this nomination as something like a Bridge of Spies too.
Mm.
In 2015, how the Bridge of Spies kind of beat out like Ex Machina or Creed or Steve Jobs. Some of these more current movies or the more exciting films. Empire of
Yeah.
Light, just the safe type of choice that people will fall in love with. And I have faith in that team. So that is my somewhat risky Best Picture lineup.
Yeah. We got pretty similar lineup. I've got Elvis. I think that's really our only difference. I've got Elvis
Yeah.
and you've got Empire of Light,
Mm-hmm.
which is possible. It is possible. Moving on to another big category, Best Director. And I think, me personally, The Fablemans, it won the TIFF's People's Choice Award. And I think when you win TIFF's People's Choice, you're number one there. You almost always end up winning an Oscar, one of your categories. It's pretty consistent, like 98% of the time, which I thought that it was an easy win for Fablemans a few days ago, but there is no longer an easy win for the Fablemans. So I'm keeping Steven Spielberg as my number one for the Fablemans. I feel like it's undeniable. When you're going to look at this movie and who you want to award from the movie, it's going to be Steven Spielberg. It's been a while since they've awarded him Saving Private Ryan last time, so it's been a long time. This is kind of, I think lots of people would see as like the culmination of his career.
Even though
Since
he said he's not retiring with the
he's
Fable.
not, no, he's gonna keep going until he can not. And we love that. But yeah, I think it's just like he's the face of the movie, and I think I think since it's my number two in picture and my number she's not my number two in director even, but Sarah Polley, who's my number three here. I just don't think that movie is technically strong enough for her to end up winning in best director here. I think when you look at some of the like similar movies, like say in Nomadland, the direction in the technical side is I think just a little at least from the reviews, more acclaimed than it is here. This is like in one location. It's very small and like focused on the acting more so than like, and I've heard the cinematography is not the best. And I think you kind of need a cinematography nom to get it like a win in director most of the time. So that's why Spielberg won. Chazelle is my two, just because that's like a technical flaw. It's like tech nominations everywhere, so I think they're really gonna love that. Polly's number three. Number four, Todd Field, big return to cinema. Tar is, I think, a bigger contender than we all expected. And I think people are going to want to award him for his return to cinema. And then number five, my international slot, I've got Edward Berger, because not only is there most of the times an international slot and director, and I think this is our international front runner. It's also like a very, very tech based movie. I think it's going to be a lot of tech noms. And the director's branch likes their tech stuff. So those are my top five. Quick shout outs. Martin McDonagh, certainly possible, but he always seems to miss out in director for his movies. The Daniels, also very possible. It's just like we talked about, I think last week. They don't like duo directors, and that's just really, I think they're gonna kind of look down on them, honestly, especially this branch in particular, who I think is oftentimes a little snobby. And I think Inarritu, Bardo, also just recently announced he cut about 30 minutes from the movie since it was screened at festivals. So we'll
Wow.
have to see how that's now received. It's less long. So we'll see about that, how that'll end up doing. Also, shout out, I should have mentioned it. I think Bardo's, especially with that, still very possible in picture. That could still be Netflix's big push, but we'll see. And then also Park Chan-wook, maybe James Cameron if Avatar's a huge hit. But that's all I've got in director. How about you, Antony?
Yeah, so similar list. I just swapped out Edward Berger on your list for Martin McDonagh on mine. I
Mm,
think that the years that he missed, which he missed for three billboards, I think that spoke more of the field. I don't think it
yeah,
was a slight on him, and he probably would have been number six. So I think that he will get in because I think the competition in director isn't, at least at this stage, personally, I don't think it is as strong as it was in 2017.
no,
Um,
yeah,
for me, I have Damien Chazelle at one because I
yeah,
think
I could see
that
that.
there's going to be a Babylon contingent. And I think that this film, among all of the others, is going to be a real technical achievement. I think that if the film doesn't piss people off and like turn them away due to its subject material, I think he wins this hands down because I think all the other people are very accomplished filmmakers, very accomplished films, most likely, we hope. But I think all of them don't have the je ne sais quoi that Damien Chazelle has. Damien Chazelle is able to make films that are so emotionally resonant, but at the same time, so like I watch his movies and I literally don't know how he does them. I still watch the opening of La La Land or the lunar sequence in First Man. I'm just like, how do you make these movies? And there is a certain level of awe that I think Spielberg had at the beginning of his career, that I think Chazelle has now
Mm.
taken full control of. And I think that will lead him to this win here, at least at this stage. Second, I have Sarah Polley. If Women Talking really takes off, I could see them honoring her. But as we've seen, with
She'll be
Chloe
honored
Zhao,
elsewhere.
yes, as we saw with Chloe Zhao and Jane Campion, when we thought she was going to win two categories, those women, they ended up only winning one, and they just chose director for her. Where I think this will be the opposite. I think this time they'll choose screenplay. And
Yeah,
spoiler alert, my screenplay pick,
it's
but I
so
think that's
obvious at
where
this point.
Women Talking
There's no
will end
competition.
there. Third, I have Steven Spielberg. I think the issue
Yeah,
here is just that he's fighting against his past wins, and I have to see the movie, I think, to say whether I think this stands among Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan for the other two films that he's won Best Director for. I do
mhm.
have difficulty thinking that, given the trailer.
I
Um,
doubt it will. I just think it's more
so
the narrative that is stronger.
if
It's
this was
about
actually
him.
his final film and he had advertised it as such, I think he would have a
He
strong
should
argument.
have,
But
and
I
then
don't.
like lied.
Yeah, do with
Yeah,
who was it that said they were retiring and then didn't
lots of
really
people
retire?
say it.
Oh, I mean, Patti LuPone said she retired on Broadway and then is still, won her third Tony this year.
Hmm.
Um, so we'll see. But I think at this stage, like Steven Spielberg is always nominated. He was nominated for West Side Story.
Hmm.
He's such like a steady presence in this category that it's difficult for me to again sight unseen for it, and also because the movie didn't get rave reviews. I mean, the fact that there's the Michelle Williams movie, which we're going to talk about next,
Yeah,
reeks of this is not necessarily a planned thing. Because like, why float that out? Like, it feels like that would be something that you would say 2 weeks ago because she was maybe in contention for some of these festival awards, right? Like that would be when you want to get out. Like Michelle Williams is going lead, so something about this feels like they don't have their entire finger on the pulse with the Fablemans campaign. So I'm going to put it third. And as we've also talked about, just the amount of movies about movies and how much we love movies makes me think that I don't know how much Spielberg will stand apart from the rest. We'll see. Four, I have Todd Field. Tar, very unconventional film, and I think people will really appreciate his distinct vision coming back with this movie. And then, as we said, Mark McDonough. So those are my five.
close, close, very similar.
Mhm.
Um, okay, now moving on to it. Best actress. This is insane. We've got a new contender in the field. Michelle Williams moving from supporting actress, where she had the easy W, the easy win.
We say
Much
we
deserved
can't
Oscar.
assume, but it felt
I
very.
mean,
It
it
felt
seemed,
as close. It felt as much a W as like I'm trying to think, like maybe like Nomadland. Like just it felt like something that could play the entire season and it was never going to
mhm.
be rivaled. Or I'm trying to think of a non-pandemic choice. I mean, some Will Smith. I think there was never any doubt. I feel maybe people were
Yeah,
saying Benedict could, but I think they were saying Benedict could in a world where Will was rivaled. But I think everybody was saying Will from the get-go.
yeah. I mean,
So
most of the actors in 2019, but I think especially Brad Pitt, most of those were like, yeah,
yeah, I think
that's
Renee
happening.
Zellweger was definitely one of those that.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is like, so let's talk about this. What do you think the reason for this is? Why do you think that
Ugh.
Michelle Williams's team looks at a potential win? Because like, I don't think they're inept. Like they know how to play this game. At
You
least
would
we think.
think, but
Why?
this move
Why the
suggests
move
they
for her?
don't. Um, I think it's probably just because she would rather say that she won Best Actress instead of Best Supporting Actress, is really all I would think about it. I mean, I can't think because it's not like you're moving her into lead because there's other like female performances within the movie that you would want to push in supporting. She's really the only like actress being pushed for the entire movie.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not even like a situation where like Paul Dano and Judd Hirsch came both out of this of the festivals like raving, and
yeah.
they want to try and make both of them happy, so they
So
put
then
Paul Dano
they,
in the lead.
yeah,
I
he's still
don't,
supporting. Yeah.
I because that would be the question. Where is like Paul Dano getting pushed? Because like
He's
with
supporting Gabriel LaBelle's lead. That's the only like lead of the movie. I mean, people have seen the movie said she's very clearly a supporting performance. It's very clearly like the supporting mother role that we see in so many movies, which is just confounding to me when it's that why you would then choose to go into Best Actress. I mean,
yeah, because the other thing too is like if what I'm about to say wasn't talked about, then this team is isn't necessarily doing their job. Because the
yeah,
conversation had to have been Michelle Williams or her agent. Would you rather her win Best Supporting Actress or be nominated in Best Actress? Because the likelihood of her winning supporting and not winning actress is there's a greater chance of that. So then the question is she okay with not of just getting nominated, even though she'll be in the category she wants? I'm shocked that the answer would mean put her in lead because personally, I feel like this is a much different situation than Olivia Colman getting pushed because
very
that was a
different.
situation where they had three actresses, so they had to push one,
It
and they
was like
inevitably
three
pushed the
leads in a
right one.
movie.
Three leads. They push the right one because not
Yeah,
only are you pushing this more of the like the character that the movie revolves around, but also you kept then the two Oscar winners in one category. You kept Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone together, and then Olivia
Yeah.
Colman on her own. And also that year, like at the time they made that decision, the biggest competition was Lady Gaga, and as we saw, Lady Gaga was valuable. It was just
And
everybody
Glenn
started
Close.
thinking, but before because they pushed Olivia Colman for lead. I mean, Olivia Colman won Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy at the Golden Globes. The same
Yeah.
night, Glenn Close surprise wins, and everybody's now, oh my God, it's the
Yeah.
year of
Yeah.
Glenn
True.
Close. So they made the Coleman decision before Glenn Close. So the only person they thought she had to beat was Lady Gaga, and we saw that Lady Gaga was not. She didn't even. The only major award she won was a tie at Critics' Choice. So that decision had a lot more sense in hindsight than this does because again, let's talk about it. I mean, she's in my running,
I
but
think she was honestly more likely, chance wise, to win in supporting actress than she's likely to be nominated in Best Actress,
do
which
you
is
have
just
her in
insane.
your top five?
I do. I do. I can
Okay,
give my top five. My number one still is Kate Blanchett in Tar.
I agree.
Seems pretty undeniable at this point, especially with her movie now pretty much getting into picture, it seems,
And
and
director.
director. Yeah, it's a pretty strong movie, and her performance is the centerpiece and the strongest point in the movie. So, and she's deserving of a third Oscar. And they've done it with people like Princess McDormand recently, so it's not like they're against it. Number two, I still have Michelle Yeoh for Everything Ever All at Once. Number two, she's going to be campaigning. I mean, she popped up at multiple fall festivals this season, Toronto and Telluride, I believe. Just like I believe she was like given awards at each of them. But that's very much just trying to like keep, especially if the movie released in March, keep her name and movie in general around in the fall festival season. So I think her narrative is very strong, and I think this might be like unlike these other actresses, most of these other actresses, like the only chance you could potentially have to give her an Oscar. So I do think it's possible. It's the weakness of the movie. I think the movie is gonna get a good amount of noms, but it's just I don't know how
It
universally
would be
loved it will
so
be.
rare for that type of character to win.
Yeah,
Um,
but I still think the narrative is strong enough that she's my
let's say
two.
let's posit this because I also have Kate at one and Michelle Yeoh at two. Let's say this is not a Golden Globes play. I mean, listen, maybe it's in
Comedy
this
musical.
if they put it.
I
That's
mean,
true.
it's a comedy.
If they put everything everywhere all at once in comedy or musical, then maybe see that actually would be smart. Put it in a comedy or musical. She takes the Golden Globe there because I don't see
I would
anybody.
hope, unless Margot Robbie Babylon goes comedy musical.
I doubt it. So I think that seems more of a drama play. So
It
everything everywhere
does,
goes
yeah.
comedy. But even so, even if Margot Robbie was in the category, I still think Michelle Yeoh could win because we saw Isabelle Huppert
Yeah,
shocker up against Natalie Portman for Jackie in
yeah.
2017. So if Michelle Yeoh wins the Golden Globe, and then I could see very likely Michelle Yeoh wins SAG, then I
Hmm.
think,
More populist
despite what
body.
BAFTA does, because BAFTA will probably go Kate Blanchett, but then I could see that trajectory for her. So I think it's very close. Again,
Yeah.
and the only thing that's keeping me away is just
The
it's just
weirdness.
the type of it's just the absurdity of the movie around her because her narrative is strong. But I also think in the same way that you played the Live Aid sequence, and that's what won Rami Malek that award up against Bradley Cooper and Christian Bale, who are, I think, objectively better. But
Yeah,
I also don't believe in objective with
absolutely.
art, so that's fine. If you love Rami Malek, that's fine. I don't know how he won that. I mean, I do. People love Freddie Mercury. It's 2018 is in the past. Point being,
Yeah.
you played the final one of the final scenes, like the scene when she's talking to Stephanie Hsu at night at the car. That's it. That's all you need to show. And if that clip just works around the industry enough, she could very well win it. Especially because Kate already has two, and Michelle obviously has zero. So
Her first nomination, this will be.
yeah. So
So,
and people love
which
her
does
career.
work against her also.
What that people have her.
Usually at least most of the time you have at least one more nomination to your name before you win. Um, but she's very well known. But then my number three is Margot Robbie in Babylon. I've been hearing a lot of words and a lot of prognosticators now saying they're going to push Margot Robbie in supporting because then she's
They
going to be
should
the easy
because
front
she'll
runner
win.
there. They should. She would be the easy front runner because honestly, when I go
And
to my
I mean,
supporting actress
if
category, I don't know who's going to win there.
If
So
Viola
she's
Davis in Fences can win, even though she won the Tony for lead actress, then Margot Robbie can be pushed. I feel like it's fine
she
because
should be.
yeah, I think Diego Calva, if I got the name right, like
He's the lead of the movie. Yeah,
he's the protagonist. So like, yeah, I think that you can play around
yeah.
um
But right
with that.
now, what we think, what the consensus is that she's still being pushed in lead. So until we hear otherwise, I'm gonna predict her in lead. But if it's announced she's going supporting, just know that she would be my number one over there, and whoever my fifth is would be knocked out, and whoever my
Also,
sixth is here would bump up.
just a note, I believe that since as we have said before, we look at trends post 2009. And since then, in this category specifically, twice has an actor who's never been nominated before went on to win.
Okay.
Karen, guess who it was?
Oh God, Olivia Colman,
That's one, yeah.
and is the other one like much earlier?
It was 3 years before Olivia Colman.
Oh, okay. So then that not Julianne Moore,
The year after Julianne Moore.
Emma Stone.
The year before Emma Stone. You're missing a year.
I'm missing a year somewhere in there.
I'll give you the other
Oh,
nominee.
Alicia Vikander.
Nope, that was supporting,
That
even though
was
she should have been
supporting.
in lead. Um,
Okay,
that's an
just tell
example
me.
of a Margot Robbie. See,
Yeah,
Alicia Vikander, lead in the
yeah,
Danish.
that worked for her.
The other nominees in her category were Kate Blanchett for Carol, Jennifer Lawrence for Joy, Charlotte Rampling for
Why am
45
I
Years, and Saoirse
forgetting
Ronan for Brooklyn.
who that was?
She starred alongside the young Jacob Tremblay.
Oh, Brie Larson. Okay, I always forget that she won an Oscar. Yeah, very deserving though. Very
That was
deserving.
great. Yeah, she's great in the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah. But those are ingenues. Oh wait, no, Olivia Colman's not an ingenue.
Olivia Colman's an ingenue in our hearts.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Um, but yeah, the whole Michelle Williams case. She's my number four now. I do think she is still like strong enough, and the movie is strong enough that she'll get in there. No chance of winning. I don't think there's a world where she wins. She just doesn't have the screen time for it. And
Well, I mean,
then
listen, let's talk about Anthony Hopkins, who obviously had limited screen time and won for The Silence of the Lambs. It's
yeah,
it's very possible, but I think the issue it's not so much her, it's the other women in this category because I have
it's a
Kate Blanchett,
strong.
Michelle
Yeah,
Yeoh, Michelle Williams, Margot Robbie, if she stays, Olivia Colman. I will say my sixth, and if the rumor is true that they're going to put Robbie in supporting, which is that I would probably put either Daniel Deadweiler. I still think Till has a possibility, and frankly, I think that Till, if Daniel Deadweiler gets in here, then I think Till has the potential to knock out Empire of Light in my best picture. I think they go hand in
oh
hand.
yeah,
One doesn't go without the other. So I would say six is Daniel Deadweiler, seven is Naomi Ackie, and then eight is Jennifer Lawrence.
yeah. My five is Olivia Colman also, but I do think there's a world where she does miss just because that movie is falling off. But it could also very much be like The Lost Daughter, where she still gets in there,
Yeah.
even though the movie doesn't.
And I
Then
don't.
my six is Naomi Ackie. So if Margot Robbie
Yeah.
gets pushed in supporting, I have Naomi Ackie getting in there. And Viola Davis is my number seven because I think
But
that's very
yeah,
possible.
so it's
And Jennifer
possible
Lawrence.
the box office wasn't abysmal. It
No,
performed. I think Hollywood is being nice to it because they were like it was supposed to open at 12 and it opened at 19. It's like that's not like if it opened at
it's
40, then
not doing
my God,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
But let's see the legs. Let's see the second weekend gross. Again, we're recording early this week,
She's
so
guaranteed SAG nominee.
I don't know if she's guaranteed
They
SAG, but
love
I
her.
think I know they love her, but it's a September release. It's an action film. We have to see because what do they love more, Viola Davis or their music biopics?
Viola Davis.
Well, we'll find out.
I like Viola
I
Davis
think
more.
I think Naomi Ackie has a better shot at SAG
I
than
think they'll
because
both get nominated.
I Want to Dance with Somebody has a better release date. So if the movie
Yeah.
clicks, then yeah. As we said in our Woman King review, the film it's a quality film, but as far as a main character, like it kind of splits its attention between Viola Davis and Thuso Mbedu.
I
Both
think
are
Thuso is kind of the clear lead, to be honest.
so that's I think the issue here is like she's not fully lead, which of course didn't stop her with Ma Rainey, but that's why
No.
I think Woman King's best options is a dual ensemble and stunt ensemble nomination at the SAG Awards.
Yeah.
I think that's where the film should really prioritize its time, because I think if they prioritize getting SAG, then I think people will take it more seriously everywhere else because it'll have a top tier nomination from a top organization. I almost feel like spending time pushing Viola, like people love Viola, so if they love her specifically in this movie, then they'll nominate her. It's not anything I feel like you have to bring attention. Like Viola brings attention to herself, so
Yeah.
we'll just see if the movie has the legs. Because as I also said, I think in our Woman King review, once Marvel releases their own Woman King, which we know is happening,
I
what
think
will
they can
that do?
coexist.
I think they could coexist. The question is, will they coexist? And I
I
wonder
hope so.
that. I mean, we'll see. I feel like we're looking at trends here, and we already have that. You already kicked out Empire of Light from your Best
Yeah.
Picture nominees because we already have one of those movies with the Fablemans. So if we already have Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, is there room for both? I feel like there's so many
Not in
movies.
picture, probably, but
Yeah,
I think she can still be potential an actress, just like I think Jennifer Lawrence in Causeway is still possible. Same with,
and
like you said, Daniel Deadweiler. Anna de Armas is done. Maybe Florence Pugh. That's really it.
yeah. Who I gotta say, it's pretty good. I feel like if this whole stupid freaking controversy didn't happen with
I
Don't
meant
Worry
for the
Darling,
Wonder though, not for Don't Worry Darling.
I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. Wonder, which we'll have to wait and see on that one. I feel like no at this point because it's just there's
Oh
like
no,
nobody's
there's
talking
no
about
room for her. Yeah.
it. But she was really good in Don't Worry Darling. I feel like in an
I still
alternate,
need to see it, but
it's
yeah,
check
I
out my
don't think.
review on my YouTube channel, Spoilers Ahead with Antony Post, because it was I I liked it, and the stuff I didn't like I found weirdly irresistible, and I felt like it was something that like in its even where it failed I found it irresistible. So it's a
I thought it
really
looked good.
interesting movie.
Yeah.
I highly recommend you go see it because I think it's such a unique film that you're gonna want to go do Don't Worry Darling.
Yeah. I will be seeing it probably tomorrow. But yeah, that is Best Actress with our new contender now in the mix. And with that crowded category, we now move on to a desolate landscape known as Best Actor, where I am struggling to fill 5 spots. So the men really need to step it up this year in both their categories. But my number one remains to be Austin Butler and Elvis. It's the biopic performance. He's got the makeup going on towards the end. His movie will end up in picture. Um, he's not a super young, like they don't like super young guys. He's in his 30s, so he's got that going for him. So yeah, he's my number one. My number two, Colin Farrell, Banshees of Inisherin, because I think his movie will also be in picture. And as we see with Best Actor in particular, your movie, like pretty much most of the time, should be in picture. Last time it happened where an actor won, the movie wasn't in picture, was Jeff Bridges, Crazy Heart. So it's been a while. So yeah, I think those two are the most likely. Colin Farrell does seem to be the standout of Banshees of Inisherin. But number three, Brendan Fraser, The Whale. I think just him campaigning will very much help his chances. I think his humbleness and just his presence and his gratefulness will very much put him high up in like on people's like radar and people being like, dang, he really deserves some love. So I do think definitely nomination. I don't think the movie itself is strong enough for him to win. And it's also going to be his first nomination. It's going to be all of those three men's first nomination. I mean, it's actually crazy in this category. I think it's very likely that we have an actor category where all 5 nominees are first time nominees, which is, I think the last time that happened was in the 1930s. So I don't know how likely that actually is, to be honest.
Well, I don't think that's happening, but and we'll get to that.
Yeah, yeah. Then I struggle with these last 2 spots. My number four, Bill Nighy, Living, also would be a first time nominee. Um, Sony Pictures Classics is putting it into more festivals. It's just been added to a few more festivals. I think they're realizing that this actually might even be stronger than The Sun. Then my number five, I'm very tempted to say Hugh Jackman for The Sun because I do think there's got to be at least one first time nominee in there, just because I don't
He's
know,
been
it just
nominated
makes
before
sense
for
for
Les
Les
Miserables.
Miserables. Yeah, there has to be at least one, and I think he could fulfill that role. But that movie, I think, is just kind of dead. But I do think that movie does resonate with
Well,
older Academy members,
do we think
probably.
it's dead because we were expecting it to be a major frontrunner following the father, and it just turned out to be divisive? Because as Don't Look Up showed us, divisiveness does not mean no Oscar nominations. Like,
Yeah, that's a different kind of divisiveness, though.
I agree, but I this idea that just because it's people, because I don't know, the fact that people are so strongly responding to this movie on either side makes me think, yeah, it's getting like, I don't know about picture,
I
but
haven't seen anyone saying like they loved it, to be honest.
which is why I don't have it in picture. But I think as far as the performances, I still don't think that we need to, I mean, listen, Hugh Jackman is also in my fifth spot, so it's not like I think he's number one, but I don't think that
Yeah.
we need to like, it's not like Bardo to me, I think is a much easier, unless he's reworking the movie, seems like a much better candidate for, yeah, this isn't gonna connect, because it just, that what the issues that stem from there just seemed like the vitriol, like the way people disliked it is different than I think the way people dislike the Son. I think the Son is purposefully agitative, and so the fact that people are getting a little uncomfortable with it seems almost like that's its desired
I think
intention.
the uncomfortable, at least from what I read, was because the way it portrayed mental health was very antiquated and kind of like the way a like 80-year-old person would be like, yeah, that's what mental health issues are
Yeah,
like.
but as we saw when an
Old
80 year
Academy
old,
members.
as we
Yeah.
saw with an 80-year-old mentality on racism in Green Book, sometime that just,
I think, yeah, the old Academy members will like this much more than the new Academy members. So that's why I think I'll keep Hugh Jackman at number five. I'm very tempted, honestly, to put Gabriel LaBelle as my number five
I was
because
going with it.
in those reviews, when people aren't mentioning Michelle Williams, lots of people are saying that the acting standout besides her is Gabriel LaBelle, and that he's really good in the movie. But that would have to be, that's very rare for an actor that young to get into Best Actor, Leading
It would
Actor.
be a
It's
Timothy
just
round.
Timothy. Yeah, it would be. He's just, I don't know if that is strong enough. I'm very tempted to do it, is all I'll say.
Yeah.
Um, but
Um,
yeah, how about you?
yeah. I currently have Brendan Fraser at one. I think
Oh,
that is something
wow.
yeah.
You've
I
switched.
um I didn't switch. I always
Oh,
had
no,
him.
yeah, no, you did always have him. Never mind. You were
Yeah, because
never
I'm
on
not
Team
buying
Austin
this Elvis
Butler.
business.
Sooner or later, you'll see.
Yeah, okay.
You'll
Um,
see.
I have Brendan Fraser at one. I think his narrative is really strong. I see a lot
Very
of
strong.
people that will really strongly defend him. Um, and yeah, I just think similarly to what Aronofsky was able to do for Natalie Portman, I think that he's going to do the same thing for Brendan Fraser. Two, I have Colin Farrell writing the success of the Venice Award, and I
Yeah,
also the strong package of the film. Three, I have Austin Butler.
two spots lower than
Um,
he should be.
yeah. Four, I have Adam Driver for White
Oh,
Noise. I
wow.
think
There's your
he,
previous nominee.
there's my previous nominee. And Hugh Jackman, who's in my five,
Hugh
though I'm
Jackman.
really toying. The next time we have this conversation, I might jump to LaBelle.
I'm
Um,
so tempted to do it
yeah, it's
because
he's
he's also he is Spielberg.
yeah.
I
But
think
so the music, what we talked about, the Music Man is closing January 1st, 2023, which means that Hugh
he'll
Jackman
be
will be
able to
around for the
campaign.
campaign. So at least the tail end. So I guess he hopes he gets the nominations and then he can stay around.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
see.
Honestly, I really kind of want to kick him out right now. I don't think it's gonna happen. I
I
just
mean, we'll say, I'm not going to throw him out
yeah.
today because we've seen, like, is Roman Griffin Davis going to get in for Jojo Rabbit? Is like Alan S. Kim going to get in for Minari? We always say like, oh, the young kid is going to get in, and then he doesn't get it.
Those are
So
younger kids though. Gabriel Bell is like kind of
yeah,
closer to
but
Timothy Chalamet's age.
I would even say like how many? I think child actors have a better track record than teens, but that also could be just there aren't a
Not
lot of
really
roles
in
for
lead.
teens.
I can't remember the
Um,
last time a child actor made it into lead. I
I
think maybe
just
Beasts of the
overall.
Southern Wild.
I mean, I can't remember the last time a teen got in. Period.
Timothy Chalamet.
But he wasn't a teen. He was in his
Yeah,
20s.
Gabriel LaBelle's probably in his 20s, right?
That's true. Let's look that
I
up.
mean, all these people playing teenagers are definitely not actually teenagers. I'd say he's probably
Gabriel
like 20,
LaBelle
20
is
flat.
19 years old.
He'll be 20 in a few months. How
He'll
about that?
he will not unless he's born in the first. He was born in 2003, so he might still be a teenager when he's nominated.
I don't think that'll
Ah,
make that much of a difference. I think he looks similar age to Timothy Chalamet.
yes,
Is
I
probably
grant
what I
you
mean.
he's in that camp, but still, I just think that it's I don't know. There's something about teen this they have a weird aversion to teenagers. I
To
mean, we've
teen men, they don't really care about teen women.
yeah, so we'll see. But I feel strongly in Adam Driver because he's a two-time previous Oscar nominee. I see
I
White
just
Noise.
have to see how that movie is received elsewhere.
I mean, it's in the 90s on Rotten Tomatoes. I think that Noah Baumbach, of course, especially with Netflix, with Adam Driver, tested formula. And I also see White Noise being a screenplay contender. And I think that it could get Adam Driver in there as well, especially because of how like barren this field is. Yeah, so I think I think Adam Driver is going to get in there. I feel pretty strongly about the top four, and then it's just Jackman or LaBelle for that fifth spot.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Adam Driver's in my honorable mentions, along with I think Diego Calva, also possible for Babylon. I mean, he's
Yeah,
the he's the
we gotta see
lead
the
of the
movie. That's true.
movie. I've heard a lot of good stuff about Calvin Harrison Jr. and Chevalier, or however it's pronounced. Apparently he's very good in that movie, but we don't even know if that movie's being released this year. So he'll remain in my honorable mentions, but not enough to get in there. And that's really it for honorable mentions. I think I might honestly just say it right now, and I'm gonna kick out Hugh Jackman for Gabriel LaBelle because
Bravo.
why not take risks? Most people still got Hugh Jackman in there. I'm sorry, Hugh, but I think I'm gonna kick you out. Yeah, I just don't have faith in that movie. But yeah, that's Best Actor. Now on to the newly just the category in shambles now with no frontrunner to be seen. Best Supporting Actress. What do you have at number one in Supporting Actress, Anthony?
I'm very happy
Oh,
because
you're going with her. Okay.
mhm.
You don't think there's
Listen,
going to be vote splitting?
yes, but it doesn't
There will
matter at
be.
this point. They just need one more. Um,
They just get 98% of the votes
yeah,
together.
I mean, listen, anything. Carrie Condon could come out of nowhere, and I think she would benefit from the split vote situation.
She would.
Um, but yeah, I'm going with who should have won for First Man, Claire Foy.
Should have been nominated.
I listen. That performance was
Regina
so
King.
devastating. I love Regina King, but that was like two scenes of the
Yeah.
movie, and Claire Foy was in it like the whole time. Which so then it's like, is she lead? I don't know. Listen, I love Claire Foy. I think she's incredibly talented. I think she's been waiting for a film role to match her that wasn't First Man, and this seems to be it. Jessie Buckley could be the number one as well. This is just, I think it's going to be a woman talking actress. I think it'll be a Judas and the Black Messiah situation where they will pick one
Yeah,
and
but
go with it.
that was like always when there's a winner, when there's double nominees in a supporting category and one of them ends up winning, there's always one of them that like just from the start seems like the like much clearer, stronger performance. And it's just like from the reviews,
And
different
I
people have
agree.
different MVPs, whether it's either Foy or Buckley. We know that much. But it seems like people will have different favorites. I mean, Jessie Buckley, also a previous nominee, unlike Claire
That
Foy.
I toyed with that because she got nominated last year for The Lost Daughter, but there's just I feel like I'm just trying to quantify in my head. Like I feel like Claire Foy is more, despite Buckley's Oscar nomination. I feel like Claire Foy is more well known because she won an Emmy for The Crown. Like I feel like people, especially now that everybody's going to be rewatching The Crown this year, like
Sure.
okay, hear me out. Because of everything that's happening with Queen Elizabeth II's passing, I think and I think isn't The Crown season 5 supposed to premiere this fall, like this
I think
season?
so. I know they halted production, so
I wouldn't put it past many, because I think many of the Oscar voters watch The Crown and they go back into it and they're reminded of how good Claire Foy is, and that helps her. Other than the fact that she's
maybe.
already well known, she's going to be in a Best Picture frontrunner, and she, I think we agree, is either the number one or the number two. So at this point, I'm just going to go with my heart and say Claire Foy because she deserves an Oscar.
Yeah. I have no clue what I still don't have a number one picked out, to be honest. Just because Women Talking is my number one in picture. I should have it winning an acting category, I would think, especially
Yeah.
with an ensemble that strong. I don't the vote splitting is going to be intense. It's very much, I think, Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone in the favorite. It's very much there's
Yeah,
not
but I think
a
the thing
clear
about that,
standout.
like, okay, imagine a world where they're both in the category, but Olivia Colman is not in the movie. That it's just the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
I
would
feel like in that situation, they're going to want to honor the favorite. Because think about it, favorite didn't win any other award that night. So if Olivia
no,
Colman's not there, they're going to want to give the favorite something. They would have picked somebody, and they likely would have picked Rachel Weisz because didn't she win the BAFTA?
I forget.
Let me look it up.
Probably. But
Probably.
probably she's British. Right? I think so.
Yeah, she won supporting actress at BAFTAs. So
Yeah,
that likely would
that's
have been
British
the
bias.
narrative if Olivia Colman wasn't there. So I think the same thing's going to happen where we're not going to have anybody in lead for Women Talking. And so I think they'll have to pick, or maybe they don't and they just let people pick. But regardless, I think one of them is winning because Carrie Condon, we got
She
to
is
see.
who I would toy with being number one because she's what many people say is the standout of the film.
Let's see.
But I need women talking. I mean, if I'm gonna have it having the Moonlight path, it needs to win a supporting acting category. Maybe it could win for Ben Whishaw, which we'll talk about in a second. But I think if they're gonna want to honor, I think it's kind of a bad look if the one acting category women talking gets is the one male character. But I wouldn't put that. But the
The
Academy could do
only
something.
category Little Women won was Best Costume Design. So,
Yes,
and
yes,
Green Book
that's true.
won Best Screenplay. They do not care
They don't
about
care. No,
looks.
no, no. But yeah, from what I've read about the film too, apparently Jesse Buckley is kind of the one who is against leaving the town, and Claire Foy is like the more progressive one who is like kind of pro leaving the town. So I think that's also helpful
Oscar
with her.
clips.
Yeah, I mean, both of them, it seems from the reviews, have very emotional moments, and Oscar clip moments. But it seems like Claire Foy would have the morals that the academy, at least actually, who knows, with half with most, but the academy that will be voting for women talking in categories, most of them would share Claire Foy's character's motives. But it seems like Jesse Buckley's also kind of maybe like the comedic standout, so they could also like that role in supporting performances. I'm going to say Claire Foy is number one.
Yeah.
I'll stick with
Do
that for
you
now.
agree
But
with my assessment that Claire Foy is the more well known of the two actors?
I don't think
Like
either
if
of them
you
are that well
polled
known.
all of the Academy members and
Well, I mean, all of the Academy members last year saw the name Jesse Buckley. Not all of them saw the name Claire Foy.
well, yes, but that's I mean true, but I also think that
I think they've all heard of Jesse Buckley at this. I would say Jesse Buckley slightly a little more well known, at least within the Academy voters,
okay.
just because she has been nominated. And yeah, I know Claire Foy is doing a lot of campaigning, but she wasn't ending up on a ballot and people seeing her name. But it's close between them.
That's fair. I just like I don't know. I mean, Jesse Buckley. I was gonna say just like Claire Foy has had more lead roles in Hollywood, whether it be Steven Soderbergh's Unsane or that girl in the Spider's Web, which weren't particularly well known. But the fact that
Yeah,
you have her as a lead means something. But Jesse Buckley was the lead in Men.
I'm thinking of
So
ending things.
they're very. I mean, listen. I think the issue that we're having and why we're having a difficulty picking one and why we think a potential person could come in between them is just because they
Margot
seem
Robbie.
so well matched. That's true. Margot Robbie needs to get in this
It's such an
category.
easy win if she gets in this
Yeah.
category.
Um,
Such an easy win. But I
well,
guess I think of the people who remain, Carrie Condon, I mean, Claire Foy, Jesse Buckley is what I would currently have. The vote splitting is going to be a thing. So I'm not confident in that, but I'm going
hey,
to, I will, I'm not going to make up my mind anytime soon. So I'll stick with it. But the number three is Carrie Condon I have for Banshees of Inisherin. And I think people say she's the standout of the movie. So I do think there's a world where if the
okay.
campaign for her is done well, I think there's a world where she sneaks through and is like, "This is my Oscar," and she gets it. And then
What do
four,
you have for 4 and 5? Because we agree on the top three.
we do okay. Four, I think we'll probably disagree on this. Nina Haas Tar, I have her in my top five.
I got to see the movie. I don't discount your logic. I mean, you can explain it
It's a
because
strong
I haven't
movie.
heard of this yet.
It's a strong movie with a strong Kate Blanchett performance in lead. And Kate Blanchett, oftentimes she like takes supporting performances with her, and they like coattail with her into the movie, as we saw with movies like Carol, even though that's kind of co-lead. But um, yeah, I'll stick with Nina Hossentar. I'm not super confident in it, but I think I don't know. I just see it happening. It's a gut instinct thing, I guess. And then number five, as I have mentioned, something that stresses me out every year with the supporting categories. there needs to be at least one nominee in each category whose film is not nominated in picture. Um, which is I've got multiple options here. But I'm gonna say Hong Chow for The Whale. It's my number 5. I think she'll be one of the slots from the movie that is not in picture. The only one who I have right now whose movie is not in picture. I think kind of coattailing along with Brendan Fraser. She'll also be in the menu this year, so people will see her in multiple things. Also possible, one of the She Said actresses, because I don't have that currently in picture, could also get in there. But I think that's the kind of case where the movie would probably be in picture for because usually, I mean, this isn't the case with Hong Chow, but usually the supporting performances that end up their movies aren't in picture, but they end up in supporting, and it's usually name performers like J.K. Simmons for Being with the Ricardos, stuff like that. Because their name is strong enough, even though the film isn't strong enough to get in there, their name is still strong enough. But there's also cases like Jessie Buckley last year, where not a strong name, but the movie was close, and she coattailed in there off of Olivia Colman. So I'm going to say Hong Chow. She said actresses are possible. Margot Robbie, if she gets in here, would be my number 1. Easy. Jean Smart is possible if Margot Robbie doesn't campaign here. And that's really it. Maybe Janelle Monáe.
Don't campaign here. Don't campaign here.
Stay in lead, Margot, please. Because I do think she's also very possible. But yeah, what do you have?
Your my whale pick is Sadie Sink.
I just don't see that happening.
The more I see it, the more
the reviews were so mixed for her performance in particular.
Really, I saw a lot of positive.
I saw a few reviews like saying that she was doing bad acting.
Oh, I didn't see those at all. I saw a lot of people. I saw a lot of like Darren Aronofsky and Brendan Fraser praising Sadie Sink. I saw a lot of people.
They're a bit biased.
But... yeah, but that helps. Alfonso Cuarón in every interview talking about how good Yalitza Aparicio and Marina de Tavira were to the success of Roma, I think led to. I don't think without his support of them, they're getting in that category. It's because he talked about them everywhere, I think it helps when your fellow talent keeps talking about you. We saw that with so many people. I think we're gonna see that. We saw that with oh my God, it's escaping me. We saw we see it with a bunch of people that end up winning that are like these unconventional picks that have never been nominated before. But they just get behind people. I'll look up who is
Troy Kotsur.
No, but yeah, because they weren't singling him out. So I think Sadie Sink will get in here. We saw Hong Chow miss for downsizing, which means that I think that that could happen again, where like she's on the bubble.
She was close to a nomination, which Sadie Sink has never been close to a nomination.
Which I think maybe helps because you look at Best Actress, all of those are established names. This might be where your ingenue takes a step forward. And then for my 5 spot, I have no idea. So I'm going to go Jean Smart with your J.K. logic.
Okay. But yeah, except that movie is in picture. But yeah, I could see that is possible. I thought you were about to say Angela Bassett.
No, I'm not ruling that out.
They didn't have a possibility.
They don't have her on Gold Derby.
No, they don't.
So, but listen, I'm not going to put it past them. Angela Bassett is
There's no clear front runner here right now. So
there's no clear front runner. If Margot doesn't get in,
she only has 1 nomination.
Imagine
and she's never won.
Bassett was able to get in here, and then Troy Kotsur her way to a win. That would be incredible.
I would like to see it, to be honest. I would enjoy that. But then also I think someone we haven't mentioned worth shouting out, Janelle Monáe. I don't have as much faith in Glass Onion as other people do. I think that is a movie. I think that would have to be in picture. I have it in the same nomination hall as the first movie. I think for them to get nominated, the movie would also have to be in picture. I think that's the kind of thing that would need to happen. But yeah, that's supporting actress, supporting actor. This is also who knows what's happening here. I feel
really strongly about my 5 here.
I feel strong. Ish. I feel like there are more than 5 people, and I'm struggling with who to kick out.
Sure, but like I look at my 5 and like, no, that's it. That's what I think is going to happen.
Oh yeah.
I have Ki-Hu Kwan.
Yes,
and then Wishaw fighting for number 1.
I agree. Those are my top 2.
Brad Pitt in 3, Michael Ward for Empire of Light in 4, and then Judd Hirsch for 5. I think that's it.
Okay. I have Judd Hirsch at number 3. I've got Ki Kwan, Ben Whishaw, Judd Hirsch. Then I struggle. I think one of the Banshees of Inisherin actors will get in there. I think
Brendan Gleeson.
most
Yeah, you're right. Brendan Gleeson.
Brendan Gleeson is possible. I've just read from a lot of the reviews that his performance very subtle. Like he is like monotone, like not really giving any emotion in the slightest. And I've heard Barry Keoghan is like a big standout. Like he's a like lively, like just like the kind of performance that they would kind of go for. So I'm very tempted to say Barry Keoghan kind of sneaks in there, but I think they tend to go with their older actors, especially in the supporting category. Just like kind of like Judd Hirsch getting in over Paul Dano, in my opinion. Just like Kieran Hines got in
That
over
still
Jamie
hasn't
Dornan.
sunk in yet. That's shot because we all thought Paul Dano was going to win,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
the reviews came out and like nobody talked about it. We take
Yeah,
him for
I mean,
granted.
yeah, I've just read what I've read from the reviews. It's like not a showy performance. Like he's good with what he's given. It's just his character, just like kind of like what I'm hearing with Brendan Fraser. It's like kind of a not the showiest role.
Yeah, but Brendan Fraser has quantifiable acting with the makeup, and he goes hand in hand with your makeup.
Did I say Fraser? I meant Gleason.
Oh yeah,
Gleason. Yeah, Brendan Fraser is noticeable acting, is what I would say from what I've heard. Is very noticeable
yeah,
acting.
but
So I'm gonna stick with Brendan Gleeson as my Banshees pick, but I'm tempted to say it's Barry Keoghan.
Who was the other person you just threw out comparing to Brendan Gleeson?
Kieran Hines.
No, you said you said Fraser when you're comparing him to Gleason. Oh my god, it just flew out of my head.
Paul Dano.
Paul Dano. Paul Dano could get in, and now we're mentioning J.K. Simmons all the time, but J.K. Simmons like gets in because people obviously just like the guy and they like the movie, and so in a world where Gabriel LaBelle gets in lead and Michelle Williams gets in Best Actress, I could see a world where Paul Dano goes along for the ride just because they like the movie. The question is, can he jump Judd Hirsch?
I think it's possible. I think we just have to see how, like, if Judd Hirsch is out there like campaigning like the entire season, I think he's more likely. But I think we just have to see how the season develops. Right now, it sounds like Judd Hirsch has the showier role, and apparently there was like clapping as he left his scene, like in the middle of the movie. So it seems like people are going to respond well to his character. It is the runtime that makes me a little concerned about it, but we've seen people get in with less runtime before. We've seen people win with less runtime before, so that's not super concerning. But yeah, and then I'm sticking with Brendan Gleeson as my Banshees person, but look out for Barry Keoghan. I'm extremely tempted to say it's Barry Keoghan instead of Brendan Gleeson. Number 5, I agree. Michael Ward. I think Mikael Ward is how it's pronounced for
Empire. Because like
Empire
to be honest, like we gotta get some non-white people nominated in these
that
acting.
Also, yeah,
like,
it's yeah.
I mean, you have Hong Chow.
We have some nice Asian representation.
We have a lot of Asian representation.
Michelle Yeoh.
But like, man, I was just looking. It was like this is a very white potential list.
Yeah, I mean that's where
Angela Bassett comes in,
or Viola Davis, or Angela Bassett. Yeah, Angela Bassett just like sneaks in and gets the Oscar. But yeah, I think Mikael Ward will very much kind of be doing what Jessie Buckley did last year. With Olivia Colman, maybe the movie's not strong enough to get into picture. She still gets into lead actress, and he still gets into supporting actor.
Can I just? I'm interested. Just quick side note. Let's say Black Panther wasn't a superhero movie, and you heard the story is Angela Bassett plays the queen of an African nation who, after her son dies, has to take up the role. Doesn't that seem like an Oscar-winning role if
she was the lead? Like if it was guaranteed that the movie was actually going to focus on that. I don't know how much the movie is going to.
Could very well focus. She has the "and" credit, which I think they give to her because she's just like she's established a career and she's not inevitably going to be the person who wears the Black Panther. But like, given that her character will not, I assume, be action-oriented. I don't like. It's not the craziest.
It's just I don't know how much they're going to give her to do. She didn't get a lot to do in the past movies, so I think they gave her.
I mean, after that trailer,
it's like a 5-second clip though. That could be like one of like 2 scenes that she's in, and she's just like not in the entire movie. So it's a very strong clip. That's the kind of case where I do need to see the movie and what she's actually given to work with. Because
Yeah.
with some of these other stuff, like in Women Talking, these actresses are going to be given stuff to work
No,
with.
I
How much
agree, especially in an
going to be given.
ensemble piece. I'm just saying because because it's such a barren field if Margot doesn't jump into this category, and I also think that the voting body of color
Yeah.
will want to, like, not to say that they're a monolith and they only vote for people of their own colors and their own race, but like I can see some of these stories not resonating as we've seen before, like you know that just has that there's a potential for that. And I think that Angela Bassett is somebody who everybody, of course, loves. And I don't know, just if you sold me that log line, that seems like an Oscar-winning type of character.
It's
So
possible. It's
we got it.
possible.
That's
But
why I
I
think
don't
it's
think,
so rare a superhero movie, and why I'm considering it more so than any other one, because just
yeah.
the what the movie's about is so unique emotionally that I just don't see how that's not going to impact people.
Yeah, and I don't think supporting actress is barren. I just think we don't have a front runner right now. I think there's a lot of strong competitors here. It's just we've lost our front runner, and now we're like
It's
scrambling.
true supporting performances, which is so rare to see.
Yeah, yeah, yes. But
Um,
yeah, my other honorable mentions for best supporting actor, Brad Pitt almost made it. I don't have him getting in for Babylon. I do think he's doing similar stuff to what he did Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I just don't know how the controversies surrounding him are going to pan out. Then Paul
what
Dano,
controversy? Sorry.
just the stories that are coming out like continually about him and Angelina Jolie's relationship. There
Oh, I
was
was like, I thought like
assaults
there was
stuff.
I can't do Don't Worry, Darling again. I was like, there cannot be any
No,
controversy with
no,
Babylon.
it's
I swear to
not that.
God,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
so ridiculous.
yes.
Um,
But I don't know how much that will factor in. But then Paul Dano, certainly possible that he could get in over Judd Hirsch. I don't think both of them would get in though. Brian Tyree Henry, Causeway. That's another place where you could get an actor whose film is not in picture in there. And then just a quick shout out to the Snowman, Tom Hanks and Elvis. The
I thought you were going to say the
Snowman.
Snowman, Michael Fassbender, that
No,
very
no.
much maligned thriller from a couple of years ago. All right, quickly, adapted screenplay: Women
Women
Talking,
Talking is winning.
The Whale, Glass Onion, White Noise, and Till. What do you got?
Women Talking. She Said, Glass Onion, All Quiet on the Western Front, Bones and All.
Very different list. Okay, mine
Very
just
different.
I think just very quickly. I'm not getting behind She Said yet because I feel it looks very pedestrian in terms of its
It's
like
about writing
cinematic
though.
style, and I really think that people it's going to be too close to home, and I don't think people are going to feel comfortable voting for that movie. But I could see the same thing, the opposite happen, where people feel very empowered by that
I think
movie.
they'll feel
And
good about
it's a bigger hit.
themselves voting for it. Like, yeah,
Mm,
we're different. We're like, so like we've changed. Like we took down Harvey Weinstein.
I know it feels very morning show. Jennifer Aniston gets COVID.
Show did well though at
Not
awards
this
shows.
season. This season, it did not do as well as it.
It still did better
Let's
than
put it this way:
it should
Jennifer
have.
Aniston didn't. Jennifer Aniston was like in the running with Zendaya and Laura Linney for the first season for Best Actress in a Drama Series. Doesn't get nominated, loses out to Reese Witherspoon for the nomination, and I think that's because they had her do the
I
COVID
still
arc.
think it overperformed, but
Still, I don't.
we'll see.
To me, that show exists in some uncanny valley with reality that I think for some people it's just it's too much. And think She Said is gonna. You have an actor playing Harvey Weinstein. Like I don't see this going well for them.
Yeah, I mean, they
We'll
had an
see. We'll see.
actor playing in Bombshell, whatever his name
Yeah, but
was.
Roger Ailes. But I think
Yeah,
it's fair. But I
I
don't
don't
know.
think you'll see Harvey
It
Weinstein like
seems
in this movie.
different. I feel like Harvey Weinstein. It's like it's different even than playing
It's
Roger
more
Ailes.
recent. Yeah,
Because Roger
it's
Ailes
more
was
close to
dead
home.
too. Roger Ailes was dead when they made that
Yeah,
movie.
I mean Harvey Weinstein will die soon, so yeah. Not to
Uh,
be morbid, but yeah.
Original screenplay, what you got?
Original screenplay, Fablemans. I have winning just because that's one of the top two in picture, and your top two usually get screenplay. Number two, maybe Everything Everywhere All at Once, just because this category
Agreed.
does tend to honor like more original movies like Promising Young Woman, Get Out, and such. Three, Banshees of Inisherin, it's strong. Four, Babylon, also strong and in picture. Five, I'm tempted. I'm between Tar and Triangle of Sadness. I'm gonna go with Tar because it's in picture, but Triangle of Sadness could very well be a like sole screenplay nominee. But I already had, I think, two or three sole screenplay nominees and adapted screenplay. So I don't know how likely it is that there would also be one in here. And then I don't think anything else really has a shot. Maybe Bros, but I doubt that.
Everything you said, I agree with.
Okay. Okay. Any final thoughts?
Yes, stop with this Olivia Wilde, Florence Pugh drama. Leave it alone.
Yeah, we can move on from that. I just
Please.
want to quickly say, I think All Quiet on the Western Front is going to get. We'll cover the text at some point, but I think All Quiet on the Western Front is going to get a lot of text. I think it's going to get cinematography. I think it's going to get sound. I think it's going to get editing. I think it's going to get production design. So I do think that's
Are you
also helps
working
it.
on All Quiet in the Western Front? Is
Yeah,
this
I'm working on All Quiet on the Western Front.
you a PA on this
Elvis,
movie?
Fablemans, Woman Talking. Yeah, I support the ones I'm working on. Top Gun Maverick, I think will win
You
sound
and the
and
rest of
get
the
editing.
Oscar voting body.
Yes, yes. I think Babylon is kind of like Mank. It'll get cinematography and like one other thing, like costume
Yeah.
design probably. Avatar is winning VFX. It'll get production. Babylon will get production design. Elvis will win makeup. I think Hilder is going to win again for Women Talking and score. I think a Black Panther song will win original song. I think Pinocchio will win animated. And All Quiet will win
Wait. So the
international.
one category you think Black Panther is winning is the one category I don't think Black Panther is winning?
Exactly. Yeah. You don't think
Perfect.
it's winning song? You have Lady Gaga winning song?
Yeah.
Mm,
That's a
no.
song. I mean, listen, we haven't heard the Black Panther songs, and if there's a song for
The
her,
first album
first,
was very good.
it
So
was. But who did she lose? Who did it lose to? Black Panther lost to.
Lady Gaga. It
Just
won't
saying.
happen again.
We'll see.
Lightning doesn't strike
The thing
twice.
about why I feel confident in Top Gun Maverick winning song is just that Lady Gaga's "Hold My Hand" is a theme in the movie. She gets a score credit for how often they use the melody of "Hold My Hand." It's
Yeah.
infused into the idea. It essentially is the theme of the movie, like
I liked the other
of
song
Top
more.
Gun Maverick.
The beach song.
Yeah, but it's Lady Gaga. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it
I
is
saw
Lady
her perform
Gaga.
it live at the Chromatica Ball, and it was great. It was a great.
Yeah.
Great
She's a good performer, that Lady Gaga, you know.
Yes, I think she'll have a nice career.
She's around like every Oscar season. We'll see.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
know.
God, Joker plus
She
Lady
should
Gaga
host.
will be a
She's
deadly
got to
combo.
host. Please don't go to Chris Rock. Have Lady Gaga
He already
host.
said no, but
I know, but like that's ridiculous. They need to go get Lady Gaga
yeah,
to host. Anyway, we'll do tech predictions
we'll
coming up
do
in
all the
a couple
categories
of weeks.
soon.
Where
Yeah.
can they find you, Mister?
Oscar Film FC on Twitter, here on YouTube. Like the video, subscribe, comment below, comment your predictions on all this stuff and all your thoughts and Angela Bassett's chances of sneaking in and stealing the Oscar. How about you, Antony? Where can they find you?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Letterboxd at Antony_post. And you can follow me on YouTube here. And also Spoilers Ahead with Antony Post. We're doing a bunch of reviews. Check out my Don't Worry Darling review. It's a fun discussion.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for watching. We'll see you next week and goodbye.